For. A lot of people associate gratefulness with complacency. A lot of people associate gratefulness with complacency. To say one should be grateful, I've heard the response be something along the lines of, but this, yeah, it's always a but. There doesn't need to be necessarily a but. I'm grateful and. It's not I'm grateful, but it's kind of that there's an implication that for me to be grateful means I'm demotivated, I'm uninspired. This is where I love the nuance of the abracadabra nature of words, of the magic of words, of the loadedness and the meaning of words. Words are magical. Words are magical. In the past, playing, role-playing games and all that, you hear about, what was it? What's the term for it when I think it's runes or something. I think it's even in Lord of the Rings. There's magical words applied to like a sword or a dagger, and those words imbue it with a certain kind of power. And I noticed that with the specificity of words. People take a word like gratefulness and they just assume, I know what gratefulness means. No, let go, restart. Assume you don't know what gratefulness means just for a moment. Assume that you are not quite familiar with the definition of gratefulness and just indulge the prospect of redefining it for yourself. What I'm trying to say is that there's power and magic in defining terms for yourself, defining health for yourself, love for yourself, gratefulness for yourself. And the definition you might eventually come upon has not that much difference from the generic understood definition, right? But there's something magical about the peeling back of the layers as to what a word means to you, because it kind of refurbishes that word, it repurposes that word, it reinvigorates that word. It reinvigorates that meaning when you define it for yourself. Think about it for yourself and stop taking for granted the fact that that's something that would be beneficial for us as humans. We all, so many of us anyway, and I know it's my subconscious inclination, we would like to believe that I got it. I want to move on now. I got it. We want to believe I got it. I understand. I got it. And I'm so guilty of that. But we do ourselves a disservice by having that kind of mentality where I got it, I get it, I understand. Like it's not a light switch. It's a constant process. It's not a destination that is unmovable. It's a destination that is pulled from under your feet constantly. It's outside of time and space in a sense. There is a magical variable to it, and that the magical variable is how elusive it is and how much we, in that universe between our ears and behind our eyes, within our very beings, we got to get in our little internal spaceship and go on discovery, go on a journey constantly. Many of us, I'll say, I know I need to do that. I can't ever not be an explorer. I can't ever not be an investigator. I can't ever not be a discoverer. Because when I stop doing that, I become weaker, I become stupider, I become just as discombobulated as the people that I complain about. And what it does, it makes me have more of a patience and a comprehension of how hard it is. I need to appreciate how hard it is, because once you get on that momentum and you're quote unquote doing everything right, or you're doing so many things right, you begin to sort of resent how dysfunctional other people are and how they're not trying. But it's good it's good that these states of being and this momentum is so temporary and it's so conditional and it's so susceptible to being obstructed. Because one of the benefits is it helps humble you and remember how hard it is. And then it helps you to, when it comes to perceiving others, to appreciate, man, I know it's not easy. But it goes back and forth, because then you look at other people and you know how not easy it is to engage in healthy practices and consistently and meaningfully. But then what happens is I resent how other people don't appreciate how hard it is for you. It's like I told my brother from another mother, I'm like, man, it's a thankless It's a thankless pursuit because, like I said, people can't really appreciate how much my efforts contribute to any of my goodness unless I stop my efforts and then you find me on a street somewhere, drugged out of my mind because I just let the worst of me take over. And then it would be like, oh, I didn't know it was that bad. Oh my God, I didn't know it was that hard. But I'm not interested I'm not waiting for that because I don't need people's pity. I don't need people's applause. I would appreciate more understanding. But that being said, boo hoo. It is about other people in the sense that we should all be seeking to engage in behaviors and practices that contribute to much more of a harmony and a healthiness between us. But it's not about them in the sense that you should be wanting to do that for you, first and foremost. That old chestnut of harboring hate and bitterness is like drinking a poison and hoping the other person falls ill to it. It's not good for you to allow whether or not you ever talk to a person ever again. It's not good for you for ugliness and that toxic energy to be circulating through you. Toxic energy that comes from delusional insecurity, toxic energy that comes from not wanting to be brave enough and courageous enough to confront yourself. And to then to put all your chips into the effort basket, and then to put all your chips into the solution basket. That's what it's all about. Eventually, it's all about solutions. If it's not about solutions, I don't know what we're talking about. If it's not about consistency and momentum, I don't know what we're talking about. If it's not about eventually harboring a kind of gratefulness and ultimately a peace, I don't know what we're talking about. That's what it's all about. Because, as a reminder, if we're all eventually going to die, which is to say, if we're all so fragile and if we're all so temporary, and if all of our fates, universally speaking, is to no longer exist eventually, why should we be making life any harder for each other? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense. Why accelerate such tragedy? Why pour gasoline on such an inevitability? It doesn't make any sense. All it is human beings being human beings. We really need a code. We don't need religion in the most technical sense where you need one of the religions on offer today. But I do grant that human beings need ritual. They need a systematic approach, which is what organized religion often brings at its best, in its most idealistic form. Because let's be real, religion these days ain't bringing, in America in particular, it ain't bringing barely anything good, except for, again, the James Talarico's of the world, who I don't put any man or woman on a pedestal, but what I put on a pedestal is what he's saying, the virtues in which he's speaking to. Love your neighbor as yourself, which is just a beautiful thing, whether you believe in a cosmic being or not. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not he has skeletons in his closet and all that, but we'll see. He has benefited the doubt until then. But what ultimately matters is not so much James Talarico being X, Y, and Z, but more so his message being the beautiful thing. Because his message is essentially the spirit, the best of what Christianity has to offer. And everybody should be on board with that, because the best that Christianity has to offer, even though I could definitely find things where would motivate me to communicate, hey, yes, I would argue there's definitely contradictions, but you can also, if we're going to use the selectivity that we have, there's also a lot to focus on where ultimately, despite those contradictions, it's a pretty strong commandment for Jesus to say, love God and love your neighbor as yourself. I mean, that's very much so a veto in a lot of ways. But then on the other hand, there's other things, but I'll move on from that. So most importantly, though, is the spirit of Christianity, the spirit of even Buddhism, the spirit of all kinds of religions where the positive aspects of it is essentially to treat each other right. That's where it is. Boring old harmony. And so many people we don't want to admit that we don't want harmony. By the way, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people want drama and don't want the harmony. You know why? Because there's no harmony within themselves. When you are in this toxic ass negative state, you birds of a feather flock together energy wise. You gravitate towards that because it's sanctuary for you. It's familiarity with you. It helps enable what's going on within you. It helps lessen the self-consciousness of what's going on within you. And so now but it doesn't do us any favors long term. And again, it spits in the face of the ultimate conclusion and our ultimate fate, which is to say we will not be here. Why waste your time with nonsense? Why will you and I waste our time with being nonsensical towards each other? It just doesn't make sense. And so that being said, my reminder to you is gratefulness, because within gratefulness is inspiration and motivation. When I'm grateful, it helps me be less arrogant. It helps me be less gluttonous. It helps me be more motivated to try. That's what's crazy. You have to re-examine your perception of grateful. If grateful makes you lazy, if grateful makes you not want to be better, because that's good. I mean, gratefulness, if anything, should just calm your soul, calm your spirit, make you feel good, and then you're rejuvenated. Let's take it from there. I digress.